Okay, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to complete challenge number 3, animation challenge number 3, the robot. Okay, so for this challenge, you're going to draw a robot and animate it in some way. So I drew a robot that's breathing like a laser or fire or something like that. And then down here, same robot, but this time he is actually breathing his laser onto a balloon that pops and goes poof. Okay, so we're going to start out by going to Piscal app. Sign in if you're not signed in. It's really, really important you sign in because otherwise you will not be able to save to your gallery. That's not a good thing. You'll click Create Sprite. Decide how pixelated you want your robot to be and adjust the size. I used 100 by 100. Draw your robot. Use Google Images for inspiration if you're not sure how to draw a robot. Choose a pen size. Draw and color your robot. Rename this layer robot. Okay, so basically, here's my completed one. This is a robot that I drew. So basically, here's what I did. The first thing I did is I adjusted my canvas size. So I clicked on resize over here, and instead of 32 by 32, I typed in 100. If you type in 100 in the top box, it automatically will fill in the bottom. However, right now your canvas did not change to 100 by 100. It's still 32 by 32. The only way to guarantee that you get 100 by 100 is you either, after you type it, you have to hit your enter key, or you have to click resize. Okay, one or the other. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out a little so I can see my entire canvas, and I'm going to start drawing. So I'm going to choose black for my color, and I just use shapes for my robot. I mean, if you look, it's basically all circles and squares, the entire thing, and rectangles. So I clicked on my rectangle button here. Oops, and I went ahead and I drew a head, and then I drew a rectangle for a body, and I drew a rectangle for a leg, and another leg, and so on and so on. And then I tried to keep it as proportionate as I possibly could, but not always great at that, but whatever. So, you know, I drew a little thing coming out of his head on this side and on this side, and I drew a line, I drew eyes, and all of that kind of stuff. So, and I was much more careful. As you can see, this one's a little sloppy as opposed to this one that I drew. So I'm just going to continue working with this yellow one. After I finish drawing all the different sections, whoops, I'm just leaving that. After I finish drawing, I just used my paint bucket to color in the different sections to make him full of color, okay? So the next thing we have to do is, if you look at my second frame over here, I have his mouth is big. By the way, I have a blue background because I actually added that as a layer. So I can do that right now, I guess. Make sure that you name your layer robot. So if you haven't done so, double click on this and add it, name it robot. I'm going to add a layer, and I'm just going to add, whoops, I still have my balloon layer. Ooh, why do I still have that? Trying to find my layer 1 here. Oh, this is so annoying. I'm going to double click layer 1, and I'm going to call it background. And I just made it blue. So I just literally changed my color to blue. You don't have to do blue. You certainly don't even have to do a background. And I started in the top, I drew it all the way to the bottom. I clicked on my paint bucket, I colored it, and then I have to switch the order of my layers so that my background is actually behind my robot. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now I have to move his mouth. Okay, so make sure you're on your robot layer. So I should probably make sure that that layer is selected here. Make sure you are selecting your robot layer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. Okay, I'm going to use my selection tool because I'm basically going to select the top half of his head and drag it up so it's no longer connected to his head. So I'm going to use my rectangular selection, and I'm going to draw a rectangle through his mouth right there. And here's the most important part, you guys. Hold Shift down on your keyboard, and you'll get that little hand. And while you're holding Shift, you can drag. So I'm going to drag up a little bit, and then I'm going to hit Enter. And now his mouth moved, or his whole head moved. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to switch back to black and use my pencil tool. And I'm going to draw a line going down here and a line drawn here. And then I'm going to make his mouth, whoops, I went a little bit too far that time. So let's try this again. I'm going to go down, and you can zoom in if that's easier. Go like that. I want to fill the sides of his mouth in yellow. So yellow is not one of my colors right now. Yours should be because you drew it all at the same time. But in order to match this exact same yellow color, I would use my color picker here. Click on it, click on the yellow, and then it automatically fills that color in as my color choice. going to click on my bucket, and I'm going to do either side of his mouth. And then my next frame, frame 3, his mouth is open even further. Okay, so same process, right? I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my frame. I'm going to use my rectangular selection tool over here on the left. I'm going to hold my mouse down, and I'm going to draw a rectangle through about the center of his mouth. I'm going to hold, what am I going to say? I'm going to hold my shift key. I'm going to drag his head up a little bit more and let go and hit enter. And now I need to fill this part in. So I'm going to zoom in a little, switch back to black, use my pen tool, close the sides of his head, close his mouth. I get to fill the sides of his mouth as yellow again. So I'm going to go to my yellow color. I got to use my color picker again. Okay, go to my paint bucket and fill in the sides. Okay, so now I have an open mouth. Now, starting on my 4th frame, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing some of that laser or fire, I guess, whatever it is coming out of his mouth. So you can see I have a little bit of blue there, and then I just kind of keep adding to it. Okay, I used a light blue. You certainly can use whatever color you want. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my frame. And again, I use like a light blue, kind of. I use my pencil tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I just kind of filled in a little. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to add some more. Okay, maybe duplicate that. And maybe duplicate it again. And then I start adding some more. I don't want it to be there. I'm going to move it down a little. Maybe here and here. And you can kind of fill in however much you want to fill in. Okay. And then let's duplicate that. And maybe duplicate it again. And then maybe have it come out a little further. And then I started adding some red in the middle. So I switched my color over to some type of red. And I had a little fire coming through the center there. Okay. And then you can duplicate that and duplicate it again if you want. And then you can start adding some more. I'm going to go back to blue. And maybe I'm going to add some more coming out here, making this a little wider. I'm just kind of filling this in. I'm just coloring right now. And I can always change my pen size too to make it a little bit bigger so it doesn't take so long to color, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing here. And then I actually just filled in some more red. So I switched my color back to red and I drew some lines here to make some more red. And that's the general idea. And then you can copy that a couple times. And then what did I do for the balloon? Okay. Well, right now, for some reason, I have a balloon layer that stayed. So I'm just going to delete that right now and pretend like it's not here so we can start this process over. Okay, so where do I want the balloon to go? Okay, so I'm going to add another frame. I'm just going to add a blank one. Okay, and I'm going to add a new layer. So I'm going to hit the plus sign here, and I'm going to rename that layer balloon. And then I drew a green balloon, so I'm going to switch my color over to green. Okay. And I used, no, I'm sorry. I want the outline first to be black. I'll color it in green, but well, no, I guess I don't have to. I guess I can do it all green. Okay, I'm going to use the circle, and I'm going to draw a balloon. I'm going to use my paint bucket and color it in. And now I'll use black to draw like the string coming out of the balloon. Oh, what did I do? I used a paint bucket instead of the pencil. Okay, so I have a string. Okay, so let's take a look at my little robot here. So we have him. Here goes the fire. I probably should have the fire going all the way to the end of the screen. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to my robot layer. And I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm just going to add some more laser-ish stuff so that it goes all the way to the end. Because if I'm going to have something on another slide or frame, that's getting hit by the laser should go all the way to the end of the screen, right? Wouldn't that make sense? Okay, let's get some more of this laser in here. Okay, good enough, right? Let's get a little bit more there. Okay, all right, so now that should go all the way to the end. Okay, I'm gonna go back down here where I'm dealing with my balloon. What I did then was I'm gonna go up to 15. I am going to select part of my little laser here, and I'm gonna copy and paste it. So I'm gonna do Control C to copy. I'm gonna go to frame 16. I'm gonna Control V to paste, and I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna use my hand tool, and I'm gonna move it over here. I'm gonna duplicate the slide, and I'm gonna paste again. Actually, no, I'm just gonna move this little slightly over. Maybe I will paste again. And then I will move this. Okay, we don't want both of those, so I'm gonna have to select this one to move it. I'm gonna hold Shift. I'm gonna move this over here. I'm gonna hit enter. And I'm gonna move it. How can I move it so the balloon is behind? Let me see. Maybe I can't. I don't know. I'm going to leave it because I don't know what else to do. So now I'm going to go to the next one. And then this is where I kind of did that poof thing. So I basically just turned my color to like a whitish gray. Somewhere up here. I'm going to change my pen size. And I basically just started kind of, whoops. You know what? I'm on my wrong layer. Let me go to my balloon layer. That's why I couldn't move it either, because I wasn't on the right layer. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to use my eraser. Now I'm on the wrong layer again. Oh, gotta go back to my robot layer. Now I can erase it because I drew this on my robot layer. Okay, now I'm going back to my balloon layer. I'm going to use my hand, and I'm going to move my balloon back into place. Now I have it in front. I actually did not want it in front, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm still on my balloon layer. I'm going to start coloring a little bit. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to color even more. If you go outside of it, that's okay. I'm going to duplicate it, color even more, duplicate it, color up the rest of the green so I don't see any green left. I'll duplicate it once more. I'm going to change my color to black. I'm going to change my pen size back to 1, and I am going to write P-O-O-F, poof, exclamation point. Okay, now my background is on frame 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on my background layer. And I'm going to click on this little sheep or cow to clone it so that my background is on every single one of my frames. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just sample or view my little sample here to see how it looks. Poof is really fast. I'm going to duplicate poof a couple times down here. So I'm going to go just duplicate and duplicate so that it stays up longer. Let's test this out again. Yeah, that's better. And then again, you can adjust your frames per second, whatever speed you want it to be. When you are happy with it, you're going to go ahead and click on the disk over here to save it. Name it, whatever you want to name it. Save it to your gallery. That's really important. And then you are ready to export. So I'm going to click on the export button here. Okay. If you want to adjust the size, make sure it's saved as a GIF. If you want to adjust the size, you're welcome to make it bigger if you think that that will be helpful for me. And then go ahead and click download. It's going to take a second. It'll start downloading or preparing for download in the bottom left corner of your screen eventually, I hope. And then when you go to submit it, I'm just going to switch over to student view here so I can show you how to submit. Probably doing too many things on my computer at once between the video and switching my canvas and trying to download the robot. My computer's not liking this. As you can see, here's what happened to my Pisco right now. So let's pretend it's downloaded. Okay, when you are in Canvas, you're going to click on Submit Assignment up here at the top. Okay, you're going to choose a file to submit. You're going to find your robot. Let's see if I can find mine. I think it's in here, I believe. Or it's not. Is it in my emojis? No. You know what? Mine's probably not saved because, well, I did this on a different computer first. And now, if you notice, it won't download. But let's pretend that something else is my robot, okay? So choose file. I'm just going to pretend my emoji is my robot. Hopefully yours downloaded perfectly fine for you and you don't have to go through this ordeal like I did. You would select it and then go ahead back up to the top and what the heck? Oh, not the top. Here it is. Click on Submit Assignment. Eventually, you're going to see the confetti fall from the sky and you will be done. So just have fun with this one. Let me know if you have any questions, okay?